we always like to drop in on on Dinesh D'Souza, not Devin Nunes. They both have dumb smiles. It's almost the exact same one. It's weird. Like Devin and Dinesh sounds like a sitcom waiting to happen. I'm just saying. But we always like it when he's still trying to get every time he does a video about 2,000 Mules, it's like he's trying to get a car stuck in a ditch out of the mud. Like he's just trying everything he fucking can, right? So this is NPR's Tom Dreisbach uses a, quote, straw man technique to try and debunk 2,000 Mules. Let's see what the straw man is.
I'm doing a quick...
Oh, it's loud. Hold on.
A refresher debunking of NPR hitman Tom Dreisbach's article on 2,000 Mules, the film.
Because it's still costing you money.
A pro-Trump film suggests its data are so accurate it solved a murder. That's false.
Yeah, I remember when he actually said that.
First of all, for anyone who saw the film...
We saw it. We went through the whole fucking thing.
There's a scene with, we're talking about a murder that occurred in Atlanta. The murder of a young black woman named Sequoia Turner. And we see Greg Phillips drawing a circle. They have geo-tracking data from the date and time of the shooting, and drawing a circle Greg Phillips goes, inside this circle is the small population of potential shooters. So in other words, these are the cell phone ID devices where the angle of the bullet seems to have come from. Now, again, that doesn't solve a murder. What it does is it tells the cops that these are guys you might want to look more closely at.
Right, because they were in the vicinity. Doesn't make them the shooter. You need other shit. In the same way, this exactly points out the biggest flaw in 2,000 Mules is that just stopping at a fucking stop sign near one of these drop-off boxes is a big enough circle in this explanation in the fucking movie to make up this bullshit that they went over and dumped. Every time they stopped at that stoplight was them dumping 2,000 fucking votes into a box. That's exactly the fucking point. On its own, it can't do it. And it's not the linchpin of it unless you have the other shit. And they never offer any other footage of any other folks in this fucking movie where they tie it to them stopping at a goddamn stop sign or being within a circumference. It's just so fucking lazy.
Because all True the Vote has is their cell phone IDs. They don't even have the identities of those individuals, but law enforcement can get them. So, again, Tom Dreisbach is setting up the straw man. They solved the murder. And then he goes on to quote the...
So you're telling me that after we watched that whole fucking movie, now your argument is that you're not even sure that the cell phone tracking data that you showed was of the people in the fucking videos that you showed dropping off votes, and it's still just people stopping at goddamn stop signs? So you basically just took anybody who stopped by the same two stop signs, the one near the liberal 501c4, C3, or whatever the fucking, obvious voter manipulation group office was, wherever the shit that was, in between a fucking barber shop and a 7-Eleven, if you were anywhere next to one of those fucking things, and you also, at some point in your same traversing across town or within a couple of days, went over to one of the stop signs near one of these drop-off boxes, that counts as a point in your column. Get the fuck out of here.
The authorities... basically saying that the data put together by True the Vote came after the arrests of these two gang members who are accused of having committed the murder. Well, whether the data came in before or after doesn't really matter.
Sure it does, because it means that the primary evidence that that solved that murder, first of all, happened before they found that. And this was ancillary against alibi as far as being in the vicinity. It has the same legal weight as people saw you a couple of blocks away. That's the same fucking thing. A man seen wearing the same jacket was seen leaving the building at 2 o'clock by witnesses. That it's in the same fucking category as that.
Because even after you indict people, you do have to prove your case. And
Really? Well, get at it, fucko.
very commonly these days, in fact, this is probably one of the most powerful types of evidence before a jury today, is to show the jury that cell phone geolocation places the suspect right at the scene of the crime.
Yeah, it doesn't, though. It puts them in the vicinity. You have to isolate out several other things. You're going to need a fucking footprint, with the victim's blood or something nearby, or you're going to need, a witness that heard the shot and then saw him walk away. And that kind of, if you just put them in the vicinity, especially in a crowded situation, specifically the place that they represent in this, in this shooting that they're talking about, there were dozens upon dozens of other fucking people. None of those other people are guilty of this crime for being right fucking there. As a matter of fact, there were people 2-3 feet away from that space who, by the way, were probably at a bunch of other places the actual killer was at. This is, all right. I think this is good for clarification on this fucking morons movie. So in the situation that they point out, these people had blocked the road. These activists had blocked the road. And when a woman was shot, one of the people in that crowd killed the woman, if I'm recalling correctly. But there were 2 people who were involved in it. There were a bunch of other people nearby. They all knew each other. Which means that if you check their geolocated data from their fucking phones, you're going to find that the people who were standing right next to the shooter, 2 feet away, completely innocent of any fucking crime ever, could be found to have earlier in the day stopped at the same stop sign when they were traveling to get to that place, would have found them going to the same fucking barber shop or stopping at the same grocery store. Their geolocation data would have matched up with the fucking murderer. And the entire basis of 2000 Mules is the assumption that if you stopped here and you stopped here and you stopped here and we think a crime happened, we don't have proof that it did. But if we think a crime happened here, anybody else who stopped at that stop sign, went to that grocery store, stopped at that business, and went here in any fucking order is equally as guilty and proves our point. It is the dumbest fucking movie short of I Am Hunter, which I'm still trying to get a copy of so we can review it together.
At the time that the crime occurred. Now, Dreisbach wants to undercut this. And so he says that he talked to the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and he quotes someone from the GBI saying, "We never received any data from True the Vote." But it turns out if you go back and watch the movie and watch it carefully...
I did. We did.
It is very clearly stated in the movie that this cell phone geolocation data related to this murder was never given to the GBI. It was given to the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So if the data is given to the FBI, why would the GBI? The GBI is a sister organization. Now, the FBI may have given it to the GBI, but True the Vote never said it gave the data to the GBI.
Yeah, why the fuck would you? This is not a federal fucking crime. What the fuck does the FBI have to do with this? Why wouldn't you give it to the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation? What are you talking about?
So what Dreisbach does, very slyly, is he quotes the GBI guy going, "We never got this data." And again, to the naive reader that doesn't realize that
it wouldn't matter anyways, and it's already fucking stupid, and they got whatever information they already needed. And one of the reasons why the GBI never reached out to anybody to fucking get it is because they got every other kind of normal evidence that put the killer where they were, put the gun in their hand, made sure, it was all... They didn't need it to solve the fucking crime. It's almost like saying we gave astrological data to the KGB to solve the BTK killer stuff, and we did it after BTK was caught. And for some reason, the FBI and the Kansas City law enforcement that ultimately busted this fucker aren't crediting us.
Nobody said the data was given to the GBI. They go, this is a decisive refutation. No, it's not, because it's setting up a straw man. Straw man is true. The vote gave the data to the GBI. And then he goes,
no, the straw man you're insisting is a straw man is that they said it helped solve a murder. It didn't.
See, that never happened.
It, like, at best, it would be an added circumstantial piece of evidence to convict the person, not solve the fucking murder.
Well, that never happened because no one said it happened. He's not refuting an actual claim. And then to give you an idea of just sort of...
Jesus Christ. This, I will say, there's something glorious about the fact that this dickhead is, like, when did we cover this movie? Like, fucking 2 months ago? When was this? Like, I put it in such the back burner of this nonsense that the fact that he's like, I have right here written down, this is, where is it? I didn't say that. What I said was that at no point in the description, well, there was I think, where is it? Shit, I wrote it down somewhere. But anyway, the important thing is, you're wrong.
Kind of how even on small things, you have this...
Like, your brain?
Deception by this Dreisbach fellow. He says he's talking about the fact that Greg Phillips claims, now this is not directly in the movie, but it's in other interviews that Greg Phillips has done.
I see. So you cut that part out because it was even worse than what you left in?
Greg Phillips says, we did our work. We did
That's in full talk to your manager mode, totally.
Our research at Mississippi State University. This is Mississippi State in Starkville, Mississippi. So
I should hope so.
Dreisbach goes running over to Mississippi State. He finds a leftist. It turns out to be the Sid Salter, Chief Communications Officer, Director of Public Affairs. So all of this is, there's these massive titles and give a kind of sense of pump.
Of people who've actually studied, who know what the fuck they're talking about, that don't include felon in their fucking title, you dipshit.
Oh, this is a guy who really knows what he's talking about.
He's from the fucking school. The guy got his... All right.
Quote, Mississippi State University, to our knowledge, has done zero analysis or computing on behalf of True the Vote. Classic straw man nonsense. Why? Because first of all, Greg Phillips never said that Mississippi State did any work for True the Vote.
He just implied that he checked his work with them, which would entail them doing some computation.
Phillips simply said, I use the facilities and the supercomputing capacity of Mississippi State to do my own research and my team's research. This is kind of like me going to the Princeton University.
Oh, so he's just lying.
Library and reading books in there. And then writing my book, citing sources, and then Princeton saying, to our knowledge, Princeton University has not done any research for Dinesh D'Souza's book.
No. Because a library is one thing, but the machinery paid for by the research facilities, especially when it comes to a supercomputer at a university, is one of those things, there's no fucking AI supercomputer library card, fucko. Doesn't work that way. You have to get permission, and you're in line behind other people who are actually trying to look into real shit.
I never said they did. I merely said I used their facilities. But this is the Dreisbachian technique. Oh,
that's good. At least he's got his own technique now.
Dreisbachian technique is, since he can't refute what's there, he has to create a phantom. He has to create a straw man. Then he masterfully debunks the straw man and declares victory. I mean, it's the height of deceit. And notice he's doing exactly the same.
Well, no, the height of deceit. I wouldn't even call this movie the height of deceit. I wouldn't give it that much credit, honestly. It's ass. It was ass. We watched it. It was ass. The whole thing was ass. It was ass. It literally was an audience of one documentary to just make Trump feel better. It was terrible.
Thing here with this unpublished book. He doesn't have the actual book. He doesn't have the book to debunk. I mean, I'd like to see him debunk it. He doesn't have the IQ to be able to debunk the actual book. So what he does is he goes looking for an early copy that's not in circulation.
Oh, now he's talking about his own fucking book? The book that he had to remove, that the publisher pulled?
This unpublished book.
That's what he's talking about.
He doesn't have the actual book.
What? Yeah, well, show it to him. Send him a free copy, fucko. Send him the copy with the mistake in it and redact it.
He doesn't have the book to debunk. I mean, I'd like to see him debunk it. He doesn't have the IQ to be able to debunk the actual book.
Yes, because you would have to be, it's not even a matter of intelligence. It would be a matter of being psychic. You would have to be able to, like, divine the contents of a book that does not exist in present form because it's still having shit edited out of it after midnight.
So what he does is he goes looking for an early copy that's not in circulation. A stray copy that he somehow got a hold of. Maybe.
A stray copy. That's the problem with books. Sometimes they go astray. And then, hitchhiking down a lonesome road, they're picked up by BTK.
Be some, worker at Walmart pulled out one of the books, like, here you go,
Oh, I see. So workers at Walmart are stupid, and in an attempt to be overly helpful, they fuck up the whole thing.
This guy was like, yeah, I got it.
I'm sorry, your publisher pre-sent boxes to Walmart and you had to call them back or have them destroyed?
So he's attacking a non-existent book, and he's going to Regner. Regner happily said to him, listen, we can't comment on a book. It's already been, this is a book that's been recalled. The actual book we'll be happy to discuss comes out at the end of October. So, but...
If our lawyers let it.
You can see how scared they are of 2000 Mules. They're scared.
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a boring topic, I gotta admit. Like, I was just shocked this is like, literally what's funny and interesting about this is the fact that you still think it's interesting and I think that's funny. This is, seriously, dude, you don't even have it like as the primary one behind your head. Call Mark Levin, he'll tell you where to put the poster.
Scared of the movie, they're scared of the book, and the book, of course, does what a movie can't do. It does what a movie can't do. It puts you to sleep. No, 2000 Mules almost did that. It gets you in legal trouble because you've spelled out. No, that the movie did that too. Shit. Lays out the argument in a very
clear and concise way. Yes, a movie has never laid out an argument in a clear and concise way.
Clear, systematic fashion.
Yes, movies are not capable of doing that. It's just documentaries cannot lay out information in a clear way. What the fuck?
A movie is a kind of narrative.
Oh, I see. So you were lying in the movie, and the book is supposed to is like the scientific version, and you made a version like that, and then you sent it out, and your publisher went, holy fuck, we're going to go to jail or lose our entire business if anyone reads this piece of shit. And they had to recall the whole fucking thing to what? Cut out entire chapters? Excuse me. I think the fascinating part will happen after the second version of the book comes out and somebody with a lot of time on their hands, and it won't be me, can compare the two copies. That's what I'm going to want. What was the part that was taken? Because that's the only thing anybody's going to talk about this book. I'm telling you, the only part that will get any notoriety or be a point of conversation anywhere when this stupid fucking book comes out is going to be what was cut out of the first copy that didn't make it to the second one. And why. That's the only fucking conversation that's going to be part of it. Seriously.
Whereas a book is more like a legal brief. It's
Yes. A book is... Yes, books have never been known to manipulate reality and form a narrative. This is the point where Dinesh D'Souza tells you that the Communist Manifesto and the Unabomber Manifesto are both like legal briefs. They're basically legal briefs.
spells it all out. And it's a little difficult to read through it and not say, wow.
Wow, this has been a huge waste of my fucking time. Wow, there is nothing here. Wow, I am never going to get this time back. Wow.
There's something really big going on here. Whatever.
Yes, there's something big going on here, and it was removed for legal reasons from my copy of the book.
Whatever you think of it in the end, it's difficult to ignore.
No, it won't be. Really? All right.
What Dreisbach is trying to do is get people to sort of dismiss it. This is what he's...
Dude, it's the only attention this fucking thing is getting. Seriously, I'd have breezed right fucking by this if you hadn't, like, weren't refuting a refutation.
After...
And, like, nobody gives a shit. 2000, it was a flop. It sucked. It did nothing.
And this is why he's doing the hit piece that is going to come out, I think, either today or tomorrow.
Okay, so you had to get out ahead of it. Hold on. Jesus Christ. Honest to God, like, we went through that whole fucking movie. And there's tons wrong with it. Hold on, quit it. All right. There's tons wrong with it. But it's shocking to me, like, the language he uses about sort of the desperation of everyone else trying to avoid what's in 2000 Mules, when really the only desperation I've seen is them trying to make anybody give a fuck. Trump himself has constantly pushed this fucking thing, and it didn't move it. It didn't do anything. It didn't push it forward. Think about that for a second. Like, we literally, like, it's one thing to, like, you know, Trump give a, you know, tip of the hat to one of it, you know, to something like a website or whatever. And people, you know, a lot of his followers will occasionally, he can direct traffic in that direction, not to Truth Social, obviously, but to other stuff over time, last few years, not recently, not in the last year and a half, really, but before that. But the fact that he could, on the stump, repeatedly in these rallies, bring up 2000 Mules and not move the fucking needle on it. Like, I mean, Fox News wouldn't even put it on the air because it'll get them in trouble. But, like, even Newsmax and other sites that could carry it or could talk about it just avoided it because it was so weak, frankly. It's so gross.